I was definitely not proud of what I was going to do, but it was a risk I had to take. And if my parents knew I was going to do this, then I would be dead. But it was a chance I was willing to take to get just a little freedom. It was about 11 at night, which meant everyone was probably out killing. After getting dressed in whatever was laying around in my room, I sneaked downstairs into the front door. "Where are you going?" I heard a voice call from the living room. "Ben." "Out," I yelled back. "Aren't you grounded or something?" he asked as I walked over to where he was. "Well, yeah." "Do you need any money for where you're going?" He winked. "You're the best, Ben." I hugged him as he gave me some money. He probably stole it, but... And with that, I left the house. I was walking out of the woods and into the small town where I was yesterday, knowing that there would probably still be people around. "Sky? Hey!" I heard Brent say from behind me. I smiled, happy I didn't have to look too hard to find him. "Hey, I was actually kinda looking for you." I walked over to where he was standing. "Really? Why?" "My parents suck," I sighed. "Oh, well, okay then." He wrapped an arm around my shoulder and smirked. "Don't push it." I slid out from under him. "Oh, come on, let's be honest here. You come out at almost midnight in hopes of finding some guy you barely know who tried to kill you. You obviously like me." He grabbed a hold of my hand and I quickly pulled away. "I do not like you. I am just in desperate need to talk to someone who isn't my family, and you're the only person I know," I yelled. He just stared at me with wide eyes and smirked again. "Whatever you say, sunshine. So, what we doing?" "I don't know," I admitted shyly. "Man, you don't get out much, do you?" He laughed. "I know the perfect place for our first date." "No, this is not a date," I corrected him, crossing my arms. "Call it what you want, babe, but it's totally a date." He winked, bringing me to his car. This was not good. What was I doing? I was literally just getting in a car with a guy I barely know going to an unknown location. I mentally slapped myself for actually getting in the car. "So where are we going?" I asked, turning to him as he got in the driver's seat. "It's a surprise." "You're going to kill me, aren't you?" I announced bluntly. "I'm not going to kill you. What would make you think that?" "Oh, I don't know, maybe the fact you already tried to." "Hey, I thought you forgave me for that. We got froyo and everything." "This is crazy," I smiled at him. "It will get even crazier," he smiled back. We drove for a while in awkward silence, except for the radio that was blaring some lame rap song. Don't get me wrong, I love rap music when it's meaningful. This was just plain idiocy. "Do you actually listen to this shit?" I asked him. "Do you listen to anything better?" He raised an eyebrow. "Yes, actually, I do." "Like?" "Classic rock." "Oh, you're that type of girl." He rolled his eyes. "What do you mean, that type of girl?" "Oh, come on, Sky. That's old man music." "You seriously don't like it?" "Not really, no. Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Journey." "Nope, nope, and nope." "Okay, but if you say you hate the Beatles, I'm gonna kill you." I laughed. "I don't hate them, but..." He winked at me. "You're a horrible person." "I know." Brent smiled. "Oh, hey, we're here." I looked out the window. "Sonic?" I asked, looking at him. "Well, it's open till after midnight, so I figured it would be the only place still open." "Wait, what?" I panicked, looking at the clock in the car. It was already past midnight, and my parents would definitely be home by now. "Hey, calm down. You'll be fine." "I don't think you understand, Brent. I'm going to be in so much trouble when I get home." "Well, from what you told me, it sounds like you're already in trouble, so I mean, how much worse can it get?" He was right. I couldn't believe I was admitting it to myself, but he was right. I laid back in the seat, a little relaxing. "Okay, I guess so." "That's the spirit." Brent and I ordered what we were going to eat. We both ordered full-size meals, just to confuse the employees as to why we were eating huge meals at 1 in the morning. To be honest, it was one of the first times I had really enjoyed myself and felt free. "I want to get to know you," Brent said randomly as we were leaving. "Like what? Why are you a vegetarian?" I looked at him. "I mean, if you don't mind me asking." "Well, I just want to have something to be able to control, you know? Because my family is so big, I don't have a lot of control. So when I get a chance, I take it, if that makes sense." That and it pisses my parents off. Oh, okay, I am not really following along. Just never mind, I sighed. It was once again awkwardly silent for a good 3 minutes until Brent broke it. Where do you live? He asked. What? Why? I snapped up from my seat. I'm driving you home, aren't I? No, just drop me off in town, I'll walk. I innocently looked at him. Sky, that's ridiculous. It's almost 2 in the morning, you can't just be walking around. Please? There's a reason you don't want me going to your house, isn't there? Why? My head started to ache from all the pressure. My parents are going to be waiting for me, and if a boy I barely know drove me home, they will send me away. I lied. Brent said nothing for a second, so I assumed he was thinking. Fine. If you're that desperate not to go to your own house, you're staying at mine. No way! No, not like that. I have spare rooms. I'm so stupid. I can't believe I'm actually going to accept this crazy offer. Okay, I guess so, I said. You idiot, I said over and over again in my head. Here we are, Brent announced as we pulled up to his house. It was a decent-sized house in a fairly nice neighborhood. I got out of the car, awkwardly, not knowing what to do. So, do we need to tell your parents? I don't actually live with my parents. So, you live on your own? No, I live with my aunt. So, do we need to tell your aunt I'm spending the night? I asked. No, she's probably drunk and crashed in her room and won't be awake until tomorrow. Oh, okay. Here, come in. He walked over to the door and led me in. I walked into a horrific sight. There was beer bottles scattered all over the floor. It smelled like something dead was rotting in there, and trust me, I know what that smells like. I know it's not the best. It's fine, I replied. Wow, your house must be pretty bad if you're fine with this. I just shrugged. Okay, well, I'll show you to your room. We walked up the stairs to a room furthest down the hallway. This is mine? I asked, walking in. Compared to the rest of the house, it was pretty nice. Yeah. Okay, well, do you need anything? He asked before leaving the room. No, this'll be fine. Thanks for letting me spend the night here. I smiled shyly at him, still uncomfortable about the situation. Yeah, of course. My room's right around the hall if you need me. Just yell or something. Good night, he said, walking out of my room. I sat down on the bed and waited. It was about 20 minutes before I left. Don't get me wrong, it was really sweet of Brent to let me stay and all, but I couldn't. I snuck out through the front door and started walking home. Brent's house wasn't that far from the woods. As I was walking, I started to feel guilty for leaving Brent without warning him, but I didn't feel comfortable enough to stay there. When I got to my house, I snuck around to the back and saw a window open. I decided to get in touch with my inner ninja and climbed up the wall to my window and opened it, sliding into my room. It was pitch black. I turned on the light to see that no one was in there. Putting on my pajamas, I decided I was too exhausted to tell anyone I was home, and I just went to bed and crashed within a few seconds. I woke up early, which was unusual for me, but even more strange considering I didn't go to sleep until around 2 in the morning. Sitting up in bed, I instantly felt guilt overwhelm me, but not normal guilt. It was double guilt. The main reason was ditching Brent after he was so kind to me. The second was leaving my family and not telling them where I was. Knowing my mom, she was probably worried sick about me. After thinking this through several times, I decided I'd better go confront whoever was downstairs and accept my punishment. I slowly tiptoed down the stairs and took a deep breath. Turning the corner into the kitchen, I was instantly tackled to the ground. Smile? What are you doing here, boy? I asked, looking around. Even though Smile was our dog, he lived mostly in the woods, and we didn't have a dog door or anything, so I was completely clueless as to how he got in the house. Smile pulled me out of my thoughts with a big slobbery kiss all over my cheek. Aw, I love you too, boy, I smiled, squishing his face and kissing his head. Sky? Where have you been? Sally asked, walking out of the living room. It's kind of a long story, I shrugged. How dead am I? Pretty dead. She smiled, walking over to me and sitting on the ground next to me and Smile. Great, just what I needed. What happened? Well, there's this guy, and I know what you're thinking. No, I don't like him. But anyway, he took me out to eat, and then he wanted me to spend the night at his house, but I came home instead, I said, shrugging. Sally just looked at me wide-eyed. I don't know what your parents are going to be more mad about. The fact that you left the house without permission, or the fact that you were out with a boy. Sally, please, 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 please do not tell my parents. I'm begging you. I don't know, Sky. I don't want to risk getting on Jeff's bad side. Please, I begged using my best puppy dog face. I guess so, she said quietly. You're the best, Sally. You owe me big time. I'm going to tell my parents I'm home, I said, pushing Smile off my lap. You want to come with me? I said in my best baby voice. He hopped up in the air and twirled around, which I assumed meant yes. I walked away with Smile close behind to the back of my house, where, no surprise, my dad was leaning against a tree fidgeting with his knife. Smile took off in front of me, almost making me lose my balance, and went right up to my dad. I felt my stomach sink. I felt bad for leaving them. I hesitantly walked over to him. Hey, Dad. He turned his head towards me, and out of nowhere hugged me. I hugged back, of course, but it was definitely weird. Where the hell were you? He snapped, pulling away. Well, aren't you bipolar? I snapped back. Sky, I'm your dad. I have every right to be worried if you aren't in the house. I have more enemies than you can ever imagine who would love to get you just for revenge on me. He looked more serious than I had ever seen him before. Okay, I'm sorry, Dad. I smiled up at him. But I have a request. And that would be? I want more freedom. You treat me like a child and I hate it. Give me a curfew or whatever, but during the day I should have every right to do whatever I want. I'll talk to your mum about it. Thanks, Dad. I hugged him. Come on, let's go find her, he said, walking into the house in front of me. Come on, Smile. I smiled, looking at the dog. He barked and followed me into the house. I walked into the house to find Jack and Ben now awake and sitting at the table. Wow, Miss Sleep-In was up before me, Jack said sarcastically. What can I say? I'm in a good mood, I squeaked. I can tell, he said, laughing. I went up to where my mum and dad were talking. They both turned to look at me. So, I looked at my dad. We said it's fine, but you have to be home by 12 every night, my mum smiled. Thank you guys so much. I ran over and hugged her. Wait, you're not going to question where I was last night or anything? No, we trust you, she hugged tighter. Thanks. So I'm, going now. Bye, I love you, I yelled, skipping out of the house. I went to Brent's house, remembering where it was, so I could apologize. The guilt was eating me alive, and the sooner I got rid of it, the better I would feel. I approached the front door and knocked. The door swung open, and a very pretty lady walked out. This couldn't be Brent's aunt, could it? Hi, I'm Sky. Is Brent home? I asked, putting on a fake smile. He's up in his room, sweetheart. You just go on. She winked, letting me in. Strange. I got to his door and knocked. Hey, it's Sky. The door opened slowly and Brent came out. Oh, hey, Sky. I was going to look for you. Where did you go? I went home. I live close, and just sort of walked. I blushed. Oh, okay. Well, come in, he said, letting me into his room, which was a total dump. There were clothes laying everywhere. I went and sat on his bed, which was made neatly. Brent, can I ask you something kind of personal? Anything, he said, sitting next to me on the bed. Why do you live with your aunt? I looked at him. I could see so many emotions going through him. My brother was murdered when I was really young, but my parents didn't take it all that well and they started abusing me. So I went to live with my aunt. He looked at the ground. I sat there awkwardly, not knowing what to say. I'm sorry for asking. No, don't be, he smiled at me. I've been meaning to ask you. There's this end of school year party that a couple of my friends are hosting tomorrow, and I don't have a date yet, so I know it's last minute, but I was wondering if you maybe wanted to go with me? I paused. I don't know. Please, you won't regret it, I promise. Okay, I smiled. Thanks, Sky. He stared into my eyes with his perfect green ones. Wait, perfect? What am I talking about? No, I don't like him. I won't like him. I'm just going to a party with him as a favour. Kind of. Sky, are you okay? Brent broke whatever I was thinking about. Yeah, He cut me off with a kiss. I tried pushing him off, but he was too strong against me. You don't like him, you don't like him, you don't like him, I repeated in my head as I slowly gave in to the kiss. The party is at 10. Meet me there, he said, pulling away. I just nodded like a dazed idiot, and he laughed. I've got to go. See you tomorrow, I said, racing out of the house and running into the woods. I put my hand against my heart. It was pounding. You don't like him, I screamed mentally. I hate it when I lie to myself.